Howdy y'all, this is Taylor Ursula of That's So Pisces, and it's time to talk about our third quarter moon. Let's do it. All right, this is the third quarter moon taking place at 5 degrees of Taurus at about 8 p.m. here today, Saturday, July 27th, here on the West Coast. The moon moved into Taurus this morning and promptly squared Pluto. All right, and we have talked a bit about how all of the lunations now on this fixed axis will be interacting with Pluto. Taurus moons are exalted. The moon here finds groundedness for its emotions and finds creature comforts to nurture and nourish itself. Pluto brings in the challenge of, hey, what's the power of those current creature comforts, and are they still serving you? Or are they holding you back? Are they conscious to you that you're engaging with them, right? Are these kind of compulsive habits or comforts that you've developed? Or are these legitimate? What's the drive? What's the motivation here? That might be a big part of what we see surfacing in this third quarter moon. The moon also trines Mercury, newly in Virgo at 1 degree, and this is Mercury moving quite slowly as it's about to station retrograde at 4 degrees next week. So there is a sense of stability, and maybe even more so through this very slow Mercury, and we're able to have conversations about what are things that I need at this time, what are creature comforts that I engage in, and are they sound? What kind of ideas do I have here, and who do I want to talk to about this? We might see an alignment of our emotions and our feelings in this moment, even as they've been destabilized by Pluto. And then the moon goes on to square the sun at 5 degrees, showing us what it is that we are preparing to release, what it is that is no longer working out, and where we might be able to create room or space for something new. On Sunday, we see the moon make a sextile to Saturn, currently retrograde in Pisces at 18 degrees. Again, further grounding, right? Mercury provided grounding from an earth sign, similar to what the moon is in. Saturn provides stability in the sense of taking responsibility of what it is that we might need to feed our emotions now, showing us where we are providing for those needs in the long term. And being retrograde, Saturn maybe continues the conversation of reflecting on what those things, those needs, and the resources we provide them look like. How sustainable are these practices? The moon squares Venus in Leo at 21 degrees, and Venus is currently ruling over this moon. When we talk about this, we tend to bring up some of the nostalgia that might come up, or some of the ways in which we have kind of enjoyed in the past. There is some benevolent energy here. With Venus here in Leo, currently trekking through the ground she passed through while preparing to station retrograde last summer, as we all recall, there might be some change in the air. There might be some readiness for evolution here, because Venus here in Leo is no longer the same as she was prior to this retrograde a year ago. And so there might be some awareness of what it is we want to change here in this area, or what new values we're bringing into this space. On Monday, the 29th, we see the moon make a conjunction to Uranus in Taurus at 26 degrees, and that might be where we start to emotionally embrace and integrate some of these changes. We might feel new feelings surfacing, or otherwise feel ourselves reaching for new resources or comforts to self-soothe. Finally, we see the moon make a sextile to Neptune, currently retrograde in Pisces at 29 degrees. And this is really lifting us kind of beyond this present moment, maybe bringing us into a space of contemplation, compassion, and even kind of zooming out into the big picture. Maybe we're able to get really creative here about what we would like to see grow in this Taurus moon. Maybe we get creative and compassionate about what our big picture visions are for ourselves, and where we can bring more compassion in for us to experience. All right, let's go ahead and pull some cards and get a sense of what it is we are preparing to release as the moonlight continues to wane. All right, stay tuned. Okay, let's get started. So, Today we are at this third quarter moon asking about what is coming to a close now, as well as our attachment to what is ending now. We're looking at how we can create meaning from this process, as well as what we can begin to invite in at this time. Okay, all right, just having a hard time shuffling today. Okay, there we go. That's a nice solid shuffle. I want one more of those and then we can start. There we go. That's nice. Okay, good cards. Very nice, thank you. Okay. Okay. All right, and who's on the bottom of the deck here? The Three of Wands. Reversed. Okay, so perhaps a journey is coming to a close or otherwise being reframed right now. In the Two of Wands, we make the map, right? We outline the stops, knowing that there will be room for, adventure once we actually hit the road, right? Knowing that we might deviate from that plan or take detours, okay? But once we're on the road in the three, we are kind of just out there on our own, taking this journey. So reversed, perhaps we are reflecting on where we're going. Maybe that's not quite taking the full step back to the Two of Wands where we need to redraw the map, but maybe we're reflecting on our experience here now that we're actually out on the road. Are there other detours we would like to take? Have we taken the detours we've wanted to? Have we followed all of our kind of instincts? Like, this is a very Aries kind of sun vibe. Have we followed our instincts? And we know that instincts ties into the strength card that we are working with this year. Have we been following those on our journey? What is needing to be reframed or revisited on our pathway now? Are we taking a pause on our current path to kind of repivot or recenter ourselves? Let's see what other stories are here to support that narrative. Okay, so what is coming to a close now? The Page of Pentacles reversed. All right, so I like seeing this as something coming to a close because reversed here we might have been in a time frame where we've been reflecting on opportunities, reflecting on what our current ideas are around what we want to cultivate, around resources we want to establish for ourselves, or perhaps about how we want to go about developing those resources. And so perhaps we are seeing a time period come to a close of reflection. Maybe that means that we are ready to see this card turn upright. Maybe not. That's okay. Maybe we don't need to really think about what happens next, all right? That's really for the new moon, for us to inform us as this moonlight wanes and this cycle comes to a close. But perhaps over the course of the next week leading up to this new moon in Leo, which a reminder is taking place at the degree where Venus stationed direct last year in early September, we might be done reflecting on what we want to see grow in the Leo part of our charts, okay? Now this is happening in Taurus, of course, and perhaps we are, as I described in the transit portion, or the aspect portion rather, of this video, perhaps we're coming to a close on what kind of resources we've been self-soothing with, or reflecting on what resources even light up for us and become visible here in this partial ether space. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. My attachment to what is ending now. Okay, so it's funny to think about Temperance reversed here, but I see a story about kind of being comfortable in what is imbalanced, all right? And that might speak to the confrontation we talked about Pluto having with the moon earlier this morning, surrounding what are these resources doing for you? Okay, like when you get ideas for resources, where do those ideas come from? Who were those ideas sort of shaped by or influenced by? And how are they serving you now? And it might be that we are kind of familiar to whatever imbalance we are experiencing right now, right? It's kind of that, like, what's that expression? Like the devil you know versus the devil you don't know, right? And there might be something that feels sacred or like safe about what's imbalanced. Even though it feels imbalanced, it's the imbalance that we know, all right? It's the imbalance that we are familiar with. And that might keep us in a place of stagnation surrounding what resources we need, right? There's a survival story here, okay? There's absolutely a survival story here about like, well, I've been depending on the resources that I have been because my life has been imbalanced in this way. And I'm scared to confront this imbalance because what if it becomes more imbalanced, okay? What if I completely fall apart? So I'd rather just stick with the imbalance that I know, right? Whatever is out of balance, I'm used to that. And therefore that feels more comforting and safe to me than actually confronting that and potentially exposing myself to further imbalance. Okay. How we can create meaning from this process. Ooh. Okay. Emperor reversed. Our Aries North Node beacon. Okay, this is a compass that calls us forward. And when there's a healthy emperor, we are a leader, recognizing that there are others behind us who will benefit from the path we are carving out. When we are a healthy emperor, we feel secure in where our compass is pulling us, and it's not in spite of anyone else, and it's not in spite of the needs of others. It is to follow our own heart and our own path, but in recognition that there, again, are others who may wish to follow, or others who will otherwise benefit from us embarking upon this path. So, making meaning from this might mean reflecting on where we are out of connection, out of balance with our inner emperor. Or, I mean, our inner emperor is our emperor, right? Where are we out of alignment with our inner compass? There we go. And that absolutely brings us to this Three of Wands. There is certainly a similar energy here, Aries vibes, right? So that tells me more about like, oh, I don't actually know where I'm going, or I'm not feeling good about where I'm going right now, or how I'm traveling down this road because something's out of balance and I'm scared to confront it. I'm attached to this imbalance. It's comforting to me. I've built around it, right? I have built around the discomfort and the imbalance. And I need to understand more about where I'm out of alignment with my own inner compass. Where am I denying myself the leadership skills that I possess? Because we all have them, okay? All of us are a leader. Each of us is a leader in some sense, all right? Maybe not in the way that we've had demonstrated to us by this patriarchal capitalistic society. And that's something to explore as well. But we certainly see that opportunities, our idea of opportunity has been cultivated around this imbalance that we've internalized and may point us to where we are actually not following our true north. Okay, what we can invite in at this time. My first thought is not having to go it alone, right? I kind of said this is a solo journey. Like there's one figure here. This isn't really like involving other people necessarily. Actually, the wands are kind of a story about not really involving other people. Maybe the four involves other people. The three might be the search to find the people in the four that we celebrate with. I'm going to think about. So there's something here about not having to go it alone, or otherwise reflecting on what does abundance look like for me, okay? If we are comfortable in this imbalance and it's impacting our sense of what resources we are open to and are available to us, we can certainly invite in some deeper reflection around what resources feel abundant to us, what state of relationship with our resources we want to be in to feel more secure. There could still be an energy of, I want to do this alone, But maybe there's difficulty in doing this alone because of these other energies. If we're imbalanced, if we're not taking advantage of or recognizing the appropriate resources for us, if we're not listening to our inner compass, then we're going to have a really hard time getting to this energy upright, right? We're going to have a really hard time establishing a foundation for ourselves and working hard for it and having the pleasure of enjoying the fruits of our labor, if you will. So, I love this narrative. We're inviting in reflection on what abundance looks like for us, what it is that we want to build for ourselves. That's certainly helping us invite in some meaning around the compass that we're following and where we are able to find agency to lead ourselves to this place. And that helps us reframe the journey that we're on and what we are moving toward, as well as what stops we want to make along the way. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please like. Please share with someone who might be going through a reroute as well. And subscribe so that we can see what we're opening up to at that Leo new moon next week. I'll see you then.